Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the program. It's the Jeff Gerstmann Show here, live with you on the precipice of a Gamescom. We've started to see a handful of Gamescom announcements hitting. A Gamescom Opening Night Live is, if you're watching us live here, if you're with me live here, is about an hour away. So we're gonna podcast for a bit, and then we're gonna check out that show. We're gonna check out that show. A little Alan Wake 2, a little I guess Call of Duty will be there in some capacity. And there's a list of games. There wasn't anything that jumped out as like, well, Mortal Kombat. I think they're gonna have some more characters there for that, but yeah, I don't know. Keeley was out there kind of saying, hey, it's more about updates on announced games than brand new announcements, which I take to mean there's probably something in there. But, Gamescom is traditionally not been a massive show for brand new announcements, except for a bunch of, European tractor simulators. And such. So I don't know. We'll see what we end up getting out of this opening night live show. I think there'll be plenty of stuff there that looks, that'll be interesting or whatever. But just in terms of like brand new big announcements, doubtful. Someone in chat asking Trackmania maybe? Like what? No, they're still on their quarterly. Like that game's only been around for 3 years. So. And they just came out on console. Like I don't think there's going to be a new Trackmania game for quite a while. This seems like a platform they will just kind of continue to update on, and that'll be that. But hey, who knows? Could do anything. We have no idea. Anyway, gosh, there's yeah, we're getting into it, man. Like, Madden came out and it seemed like no one cared. Anyone else notice that? It seemed like Madden, like there was always the like John Madden comes out and then video games have returned. I feel like that when Madden hit, there was an all-time low of interest in the. I'm sure whatever that's not me saying like it's not going to sell, but I feel like for as much as Madden used to feel like that end of the summer kind of like video games are back kind of thing. Like it really felt like it came out to zero fanfare. I didn't even see a ton of coverage of it, which is weird. I don't really know what to make of that. Maybe it's just me and I'm just not in the places where Madden is promoted or shown or covered or whatever anymore. Or, I think it's also entirely possible. Been thinking about, just kind of like where video game coverage is at and all that sort of stuff, that just maybe we're at a point where, when we talked about the dedicated sports person who was there to cover sports games in the past, like no one can afford that anymore. So maybe there's just a little less interest in covering Madden. I don't know. At some point it definitely became less of a traffic like we've got to get them exclusive on Madden. Like no one, the people that are playing Madden don't fucking come to your website to look at screenshots of Madden. They just pre-order Madden. It's a subset of a subset that is like going to websites and going like, oh, who's got a overall 84 this year? Like all the other stat shit and everything else. So, maybe they're just like, whatever, man, it'll come out. I did see it. It's on Steam, and like a lot of big games on Steam, it's all the user reviews are super negative. People going like, this is a scam, and like I just look at that and go like, it sounds like it's probably just another Madden. I don't know why people are so mad. Like I get why Overwatch gets review bombed and stuff, and that's because those people are fucking crazy and they have nothing better to do than like review bomb Overwatch 2. Like, hey, I don't especially like Overwatch 2, but you know what I do? I just go, yeah, all right, cool, man. That game was very popular for a while. You had a good run. You'll make something else eventually. Like don't need to go nuts and go, I've got to make sure that they know that I still don't like Overwatch 2. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anyway, Destiny 2 live stream this morning. I didn't catch any of it. I was curious. They said they were going to reveal the final shape, and I have not seen it, so don't spoil it for me, but I'm hoping it's trapezoids. It had better be. If it's not trapezoids, I feel like we're wasting our time. I was skimming through TikTok this morning, looking at dancing ladies, and the Destiny 2 live stream came through as I was scrolling, and I just saw enough of it to where someone was on there saying, I'm so excited that deck building has finally come to Destiny 2. And I was like, oh, word. And I just kept going. I was like, I don't know that I need to know anything more about Destiny 2 other than you've put deck building in it and I'm good. No, thank you. It was like a screen of all these cards. And I was like, oh, no. Okay, I'm good. Thank you. So I'm sure there's more to it than that, but that was definitely like a big flashing sign that was just like, dude, you don't need to reinstall Destiny 2. And I was like, okay, cool, good to know. I'm good. Let's see. Immortals of Aveum is out now. So is Xenotilt. We're going to talk a little bit about those. But why don't we take our break here and get that done, and then we will. We'll come back. We'll talk about some video games. We'll talk about all this news, all this Xbox store news, and of course, your boy Charles stepping away. All that sort of stuff in a sec. Be right back. Those sweaty summer nights are here. Are they interfering with your sleep? I bet they are. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? That's right. Did you know that you can combat that heat with Miracle Made's bed sheets? It's true. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. So you get better sleep every night. These sheets are also self-cleaning. That silver infusion? That's right. It can prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than the other sheets. No more gross odors. Ugh, ugh. And hey, they feel great. Luxurious comfort is at your fingertips without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and they feel as nice, if not nicer, than bed sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog up your pores. It can cause breakouts. It can cause acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. It's time to try them. Go to trymiracle.com/Jeff to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use the promo code Jeff at checkout, you'll receive 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Whoa! Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Jeff and use the code Jeff to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Jeff to treat yourself. And thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring the episode. We're back. Immortals of Aveum is out. This is the first-person shooter with magic that has been hotly anticipated isn't the word, but I think it definitely kind of made a little bit of noise some number of months ago as people were going through previews and going like, hey, this actually seems kind of cool. It's like an EA Originals thing, so they're publishing it, but was it Ascendant Studios? Is that the name of the team that's putting this out? Yes, Ascendant Studios. $60 video game. Did you ever see the hit History Channel program Vikings? Did you ever see it and go like, wow, this has like a real, it's like they wanted to make prestige television, and not to say it's bad per se, but they sure didn't have the budget of, say, a Game of Thrones or a big budget film, and there's like stuff in there, the early days of that show. Other shows like it, when you get that kind of, we want to make prestige TV, but we kind of don't have what we need to. This game has that kind of vibe to it. Of like, literally, there's a, you play through the prologue in the game, and then it has a introductory, kind of a late-ish title card, and the music and it is throwing names up on the screen. This is, I'm a dumb, there's nothing, it's not meant to be comical. Like it's the characters are a little snarky at times and what have you. But when they get to this big sweeping intro, and like all the, like putting all the titles on screen, a lot of names and stuff. One of the first names you see is Mike Fudge. And I want to say shout out to Mike Fudge, but also there was just, and I'm a child. I'm willing to admit that. But when like they have this big serious thing and then you just see on the screen Mike Fudge, I was like, oh, fuck me, man. Anyway, but the intro actually, I think the intro really weirdly undermines a lot of the game because it looks, it gives that feeling of, oh, this is a basic cable television show and you are trying to punch above your weight as hard as you can with you don't have the money of the big shows, but you're going to do everything you can to try to get there. And you look at it and you go, well, yeah, I mean, you're not getting there, but like you're doing a thing. I think this entire game kind of has that vibe. It's a first-person shooter. Like the shooting doesn't feel, it's a lot of like, hey, you're shooting stuff out of your hands and so on and so forth. And, but the whole setup is like, you're a ragtag group of vagabonds and pickpockets and cut purses and just some kids out there. And meanwhile, that's set against the backdrop of two magic armies fighting each other to the death for all of eternity. And, then some things happen and everyone else, and then suddenly you are compelled to join the Everwar, the eternal battle, and oh, you have more magic than we thought, and you're, oh my gosh, you're the chosen one, like that sort of stuff. I haven't finished the game. We will probably start from the beginning tomorrow. We'll stream some of it, and you can see the title card stuff for yourself. I don't know. It's not like that doesn't live or die by that. It's like whatever, but it's fine. I don't know. Like I came away from it going like, this game is mostly okay. It feels a little underwhelming. It's just kind of it's a little flat. I don't know. Like in some ways it is the B game that we talk about being gone. It is absolutely in that same vein, not necessarily qualitatively, because I don't think it's actually as good as some of the classic B games that we might throw around here, but it is that kind of like, this is not going to be one of these top tier biggest games in the world sort of things, but hey, there's something to it. It's a little, it's a little under those games and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's a first. I played it on a PlayStation 5, and there's kind of there's a very early initial sequence where you are running as the city is under attack, and the frame rate is pretty all over the place. Like it's trying to do a lot, right? There's like stuff flying overhead and rubble and whatever, and like it's this weirdly skittery game. Like you're following a character and your movement speed is super fucking fast, and then when the attack hits, it's got this real framey thing going on PlayStation. So So that didn't help. I don't know. Like I said, we'll check it out on PC tomorrow. I have not seen the PC version at all, so I don't know. But it's I don't know. It's janky. It feels kind of generic. Like there's a little bit of dialogue stuff and bits and pieces of kind of a bigger game there, I guess. But my feeling on it is that Immortals of Aveum is like maybe not something you would want to pay full price for. That's at least my impression of it so far. Like I said, I have not finished the game, but I definitely kind of got to a point where I'm like, all right, I think I see what you're putting together here, and yeah, it's all right. Which is a shame. I feel like there was some buzz around it pre-release from people that checked it out, kind of in a preview context. That I think they came away from it going like, hey, there's something here. There's kind of something to this. And I was like, oh, cool. All right, good. That's good to hear. And I managed to miss it the 2 times I had opportunities to see it pre-release. And so I'm kind of coming into it cold. And yeah, I don't know. Like this is an insane thing to say, but I think you'll get what I'm in. It's no Hexen, It doesn't, I don't know, just in terms of making a compelling first-person shooter with, magic elements and all of that sort of stuff. It's, I don't know, they did that. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but they did that. And you play it and go like, okay, like this is different, this is a little different than some of the other shooters that have come along, and that's cool. And no multiplayer or anything like that. Just like, here's this single player campaign, and I'm not really sure how long it is. But I guess like I'm kind of coming away from it going like, like this game would be fine at half the price. You would be like, great, this is amazing. At $60 or $70 for the deluxe edition, you kind of come away from it going like, yeah, I don't know. When I think about how that money could have been spent, maybe that's not the direction I would have gone in or whatever. But and weirdly enough, like it's got like there's a community tab off the main menu. It's for a game that doesn't have any multiplayer elements to it. Not that this is not me saying it should have had multiplayer, because I don't know that would have been that much fun in the grand scheme of things. I guess I'm kind of coming away from going like it's got a community tab, and you're just like, why are we building communities around a single player first person like shooter campaigns, and like what do you hope to gain? Like, I guess if you want to make another one, then maybe you need to build a community. It just seemed like a weird, like, just I don't know, just put it out, like put it out and sell it. The deluxe edition comes with some stuff. I think it's just cosmetic stuff. But what does the deluxe upgrade get you? Oh, increases. Okay, so it's actually gear. You can so you get like basically like 3 different your red, green, and blue sigils. So you get an item that boosts your critical hit damage. And a ring that increases shred against all 3 colors of magic, increased spell damage, increased fury damage, and a handful of other items and stuff. So yeah, it's actual like gameplay type stuff. Which again seems kind of weird for a single player game, but I guess it would be weirder for a multiplayer game because people would be calling it pay to win. So there's truly no way to win in this scenario. It's kind of cool. Like I'll say that, and it's Unreal Engine 5.1, I believe. So it's like this kind of weirdly high tech thing, and they're like, we used Lumiere. What was it? We used all the Unreal Engine tech stuff to make the lights do this, and it's automatically doing this, and nanite this, and lumen that, and you're like, great. And then you play it on PlayStation 5 and you're like, if this is supposed to automatically kind of adjust quality to keep things up from a frame rate perspective, you are not getting it done. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see what it runs like on a PC. Of like everyone else in chat is saying that maybe it's got some optimization issues on PC. But yeah, I don't know. There it has some neat stuff going for it. Just in terms of like there hasn't really been anything quite like it in a while, and that's neat. But I think it kind of wears out its welcome very early in terms of just like how the combat feels and how the shooting feels, honestly. Like you have your arm with this kind of focused thing on it, and it just, that never feels good or powerful or awesome, I guess, at least in my experience so far. So we'll check out more of it tomorrow and kind of see how it do on PC, and we'll take it from there. Xenotilt. I don't have much new to say about Xenotilt. We talked about it probably about a month ago now, because I have been playing it for a while, and it is out now. Xenotilt is awesome, and it is out now. That's all. I just want to say Xenotilt is a pinball game. It is the follow-up to Demon's Tilt with more of an alien twist, and it is a radical pinball game. It has really cool ideas about where you can catch the ball on the flipper and then use that to fire guns, and so you accumulate ammo in a pinball game, and it fucking rips. That game fucking rips. So I think you should check out Xenotilt. It's bad. It is a badass pinball game. And I think it's a significantly better game than Demon's Tilt. I think they've done a better job at kind of sussing out the it's an easier read. I think in Demon's Tilt it was very easy to kind of lose the ball and go like, where am I going? What am I doing? Like, there was just like aspects of it where you would feel a little bit lost. I think the readability is much improved in Xenotilt. I don't know if that's the factor of the color palette or other kind of specific work that they've done, but whatever they've done it very well. And so I think in terms of just like what you're doing, what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, what you want the ball to hit, I think a lot of that is better than it was in Demon's Tilt. So if you were at all interested in Demon's Tilt, or if you are at all open to the idea of a sick-ass pinball game, that is what Xenotilt is. It is indeed a sick-ass pinball game. One of the coolest things I have played in quite a while. So I would say go give that a look. Personally, I think it's rad. And I need to carve out some more time to play it. I'm gonna play a little bit on the Steam Deck here and there, and there's been like I feel like every time I sit down on my computer, there's been like another patch, which is not that's not a good or a bad thing per se, but there's been a lot of hot fixes with names like let me look at the page here real quick. Where did that go? All right, we're going to type it in to make this easier to find. The Daily Hot Fix. It was issued yesterday. On the 20th, we got Night Hot Fix. And then earlier on the 20th, first hot fix of the day. So, Crash Hot Fix. Yet another weekend hot fix. The hot fix weekend heats up. So, has been chipping away at some stuff, I guess. When I, playing it pre-release, when I did stream it, there was all that slowdown that we saw. That appears to be gone now. That was an issue with the game that it looks like they have since corrected. So yeah, check out Xenotilt. It's on Steam. Why don't we get into the news? It's audition time. Here we go. It's a me, Mario. Let's a go. Wah ha 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 ha. Wah ha 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 ha. Up, whoop, yeah, whoop, All right. I will await. All right. I want to. I feel like I'm in the running to be the next Mario. I'm hoping that they hear that performance and that they bring me on and let it happen. Nintendo has announced the Charles Martinet. This is we will go to our graves not knowing how to pronounce this man's name. I'm sorry. The phrase used is from Nintendo's post on Twitter, is that Mr. Martinet will be stepping back from the role of Mario. Here's the full statement that they put out here. Charles Martinet has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Super Mario 64. Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador, which I think, as a 3DS ambassador, I am happy to say that Nintendo treats its ambassadors very well and takes it very seriously. With this transition, he will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games, but he'll continue to travel the world sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with you all. It has been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. Please keep an eye out for a special video message from Shigeru Miyamoto and Charles himself, which we will post at a future date. So, people had been watching the Super Mario Brothers Wonder footage and going, that Mario sounds different. And it's because it is. They are replacing. I don't know why. It says he is stepping back. Is this something that he is doing? Is this something that Nintendo is like, hey man, we want to go in a different direction? Like, we want to go in a different direction with Mario? Is that a thing? Like, was he mouthing off and being like, it's a me, the union guy, I want more money? Was he getting a big head about being the voice of Mario for decades? Like, gonna say probably not, but I don't. Maybe he was just done. Maybe he was just like, hey man, I'm good. This is actually a strain on my voice, and I've had a great time. Yeah, he's in his late 60s, and so maybe there's maybe there's something on his end where he is like, hey, I'm good. I don't need to do this anymore. You got Chris Pratt now. You don't need me. Oh boy. If he was bad in any way, that wouldn't keep him on as ambassadors. Yes, I'm joking when I say, but again, like, is that a like token sort of like, hey man, we don't want you to do this anymore, but we'll pay you to do this? And he's like, okay. Or, again, is he stepping away? Was it a mutual thing? We don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It's that guy. I feel like the first time I saw him, it was not Super Mario 64. I think the first time, was it Mario Teaches Typing or the so he was doing the trade show stuff for Nintendo for in times before Mario 64 was out, I believe. I want to say it was in development or whatever it was, but like Nintendo has for a long time had the thing, and he's done this, which is crazy because it's like it's the voice of fucking Mario. And what's he doing? He's hiding in a box backstage at E3 somewhere, looking at a camera feed as people walk by. And then he is talking while a CG Mario head floats on a TV and talks to people walking by at the trade show. And it was incredible because you'd go up and it would be Mario there, and he would go, "Hey you!" And he, like the camera feed was good enough that he could sometimes read people's badges and say their names. which was always it's just like a fun kick. And kids, it shows where there were actual kids there, and it wasn't just like fucking dudes in suits going like, Mario's talking to me. What's Mario? I don't know. This guy. It was cool. It was fucking cool. It was always cool. And I loved that they did it for like a weirdly long time. And it was him backstage doing it. So, they got a lot of work out of him. He for a voice acting role that you might think was like one game every couple of years or whatever it was. Like they had him pop up at trade shows and just talk like he was Mario. And then sometimes Mario would go away and Wario would come out and he would do that voice and be like, "Oh no, what?" And then he'd be like, "Wah!" And then it was just fucking fun. Yeah, it's just cool. He's got an acting reel that I remember we watched a long time ago, but yeah, he's done some stuff but yeah, he always did a lot of this stuff for Nintendo. I will always remember that trade show stuff, but the most fondly. Like I'm not like what, and this I don't mean to come off like a dick, but like that I'm not gonna be like, what's your favorite Mario performance? Because I don't, they haven't, Mario's been a very narrow character. And I think that he has voiced Mario well, and I think that as he took on, started to voice a lot of other characters over the years, as Wario came into existence and so on and so forth. He did a good job with all of that stuff. And it's weird, man. It just feels like the end of an era. I'm sure that the new voices of Mario, as long as they're going with something that is in line with that stuff, I think will be fine. Right? It's not he's not the most talky character in the world. Though I think again, like I think Charles Martinet he had range because he could sit in that box for like an hour or more and do the Mario talk in full sentences, do all, he could do all of that and still sound pretty good. So I don't know. It's not the thing of like, oh, well, he could only say those 9 words and then the rest of it didn't sound like Mario. So we had to find, it's nothing like that. Like he could pull all that off. He was really good at it. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it was always the Mario 64 floating head with him talking in a room somewhere. And I remember the first few times I saw it wondering if like, well, I mean, there's a dude somewhere. Is he literally right here? Is he hiding underneath the TV? Is he sitting down there? Is it, but I think they just had him off somewhere else doing it. Certainly in later years, but probably the entire time they probably did not have him hiding under a TV talking like Mario. So yeah, I don't know. Mario spoke to me a couple of times over the years, and that was always fun. So I don't know. That's the stuff I will remember about his run, as Mario, is that sort of stuff. So yeah. And we'll see. I don't know, like Super Mario Wonder, that trailer, I think the character voice, like it sounds a little different, but it doesn't sound bad. It sounds in line with, it doesn't sound like Chris Pratt's take on Mario, which for what it's worth, I think works in the context of that film. Fine, but I think what you want out of the game is not necessarily that. And I think what they did for Wonder, or what we've seen of Wonder so far, which I gotta say, man, Wonder is probably like, when I think about the rest of the year here, Wonder is probably, at least if not it is like in the top 3 most anticipated games for me personally for the rest of the year. I really want to see that fucking thing. I am dying to play some of that. I have really high hopes for it. It just looks fun. Anyway, best of luck to Nintendo. These kids will figure it out someday. It's got to be a blow for them, but they'll figure something out. Microsoft has been spending some time figuring some things out. And this morning they announced their new plan to figure out how to get the UK to leave them the fuck alone. And they've brought in Ubisoft as a patsy, as like a fall guy for part of this plan. Okay. So, assuming the deal closes and Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, they have put in place a plan where they will deal the rights to Activision's lineup for the purposes of cloud streaming to Ubisoft. And they will be the company that controls those rights. When it comes to if you want to license those games for your streaming service or you want to stream them out, like Ubisoft will be the company that controls that in most parts of the world, except for some parts in Europe, like I think Norway. So what Ubisoft is getting is they are getting the cloud streaming rights for the current and the next 15 years of Activision Blizzard games in perpetuity. And here's a quote from what Microsoft put out. The agreement provides Ubisoft with a unique opportunity to commercialize the distribution of games via cloud streaming. The agreement will enable Ubisoft to innovate and encourage different business models in the licensing and pricing of these games on cloud streaming services worldwide. Ubisoft will compensate Microsoft for the cloud streaming rights to Activision Blizzard's games through a one-off payment and through a market-based wholesale pricing mechanism, including an option that supports pricing based on usage. It will also give Ubisoft the opportunity to offer Activision Blizzard's games to cloud gaming services running non-Windows operating systems. Now, that sounds like a point they're making just to drive home to regulators that this is non-Windows stuff as well, because it doesn't sound like that Microsoft is retaining the rights to do it exclusively on Windows-based platforms per se. So what this... It's a very convoluted thing. Ubisoft put out a press release this is a done deal. They're like, oh yeah, this is happening. They put out a thing, the first sentence is, yes, you read that headline right, which is Activision Blizzard games coming to Ubisoft Plus. With a single subscription to Ubisoft Plus Multi-Access, which is, I guess, the highest tier of Ubisoft Plus, players will soon be able to play their favorite Ubisoft games and stream their favorite Activision Blizzard games across multiple platforms, including PC, Xbox consoles, and Amazon Luna, and on the PlayStation platform through Ubisoft Plus Classics. The agreement will offer players an even greater access to a large library of beloved and classic titles, as well as the newest releases, all through cloud streaming. Okay. So, Ubisoft Plus is not a streaming service per se. It is a system, a service where you download. I mean, on Luna it is, obviously. It is interface with cloud streaming services in some situations. So I guess this means you won't be able to download these Activision Blizzard games and run them on PlayStation through Ubisoft's subscription service. Because the Ubisoft Plus Classics is a thing. If you're subscribing to the highest tier of PlayStation or one of the higher tiers of PlayStation, you get access to some additional Ubisoft games as part of Ubisoft Plus Classics. Very convoluted. But since they're only getting the streaming rights, it seems like this is my guess is that you will not be able to just download these games and play them normally on a PlayStation. It will be cloud only. And so what it seems like happened here is obviously Microsoft wants to get this deal done. They need to find a way to get the UK to just fucking wave it through and go, all right, you're good. So what they've done, because a lot of the UK's problems with this were around the cloud streaming part of it. They're like, we need to ensure that Microsoft doesn't get a monopoly in the cloud streaming space. So Microsoft is saying, okay, cool, we're going to sell the rights to that to Ubisoft. And now we don't have the cloud streaming rights to the Activision stuff, so we're good, right? And so what they will do, probably how this will end up working, is they will charge. So okay. Ubisoft will pay Microsoft some fee for the rights, for the worldwide rights to this, a one-time lump sum fee, and then there'll be some kind of additional usage-based, or they'll give Microsoft a cut of the money they're making on that sort of stuff. I assume how this will end up working is Ubisoft will give Microsoft some chunk of money and whatever else. And then Microsoft will say, okay, cool, we want to buy the rights to stream this stuff in these territories from you, and we're going to give you this much money, which is even more than the money you just gave us. So you're coming out ahead on this for some chunk of millions of dollars. And you can go, you have the exclusive rights to, you can sell it non-exclusively in some territories. So, other streaming services will still get it. Microsoft, if you remember, has already made a bunch of other deals with other streaming services to get those games onto those platforms as well. So like those deals are already kind of like done or whatever, or will be honored or however it ends up working out. So basically Microsoft has said, we want it on our service, and we will play like Ring Around the Rosie. We will have a little hanky panky with Ubisoft to make that a reality, and we'll end up, having to pay some chunk of money to Ubisoft to make that happen. But that's a hit we're willing to take. Like, with the amount of money they're spending to make this acquisition, if they're coming to Ubisoft and saying like, hey man, you're gonna come out getting like fucking $30 million out of this just for fucking free, and you'll get this whole business that you can go make money on, and we'll take our cut, but like fucking you can go sell Call of Duty streaming in other markets or whatever. Like, Ubisoft has to just be like, cool man, we got you. Yeah, we'll hook you up. You and Microsoft will get friend prices or whatever else, and then that will happen for the next 15 years. At which point you would expect that those rights revert to Microsoft. But at that point, if the cloud gaming space is going to be a big deal, it will have become one by then, and it will be a lively competitive space. And so Microsoft owning those games in 15 years won't be a big deal, right? Right? Who knows? The market authority in the UK has said, we'll look into it. We'll take a look. We'll take, because they had previously said, man, nah, we're fucking done. And now they're like, well, now this is a new deal. I guess we've got to look at it again. Presumably this one goes through. Who knows? They have until sometime in October to get the deal done based on the extension that Microsoft and Activision filed and all of that. So this is crazy. I don't know. Pachter. One Michael Pachter on Twitter tried to break it down, and I'll take a look at a little bit of what he said, because I think he did a pretty good job of kind of walking through basically a lot of what I've said here, but like at the end, he's basically just like, the CMA, which is the competitive authority that in the UK that is holding up the deal. He's basically saying like, these people are fucking idiots. He's just like, he's got 3 solid tweets in there. So other than keeping me occupied observing how stupid the CMA is, this delay accomplished next to nothing. Microsoft was always willing to make Call of Duty available on competitor platforms, and making Activision titles available to competing cloud gaming services was an easy fix. The sticking point was that the CMA felt it couldn't trust Microsoft to do this on its own. Enter Ubisoft, who would not take the risk that Microsoft would back out. There must be a guarantee from Microsoft and a smaller offsetting guarantee from Ubisoft. To repeat, the CMA added no value, but was able to flex its muscles and get a very large corporation to kiss its ring. The parties reached the right result, but instead of spinning off Game Pass in the UK, they spun off Activision Cloud Gaming globally, Big fucking deal. Wasted time. So, yeah. Congratulations to the CMA for whatever it is they're getting. Again, how does this benefit consumers any better than if they had, well, whatever. Dumb shit. But this will probably be the thing that gets the deal over the line. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have announced it. So, I don't know. Big up to Ubisoft for getting some chunk of some streaming money, however much that is. But I guess for me, okay. So, but the where I was tripping up is over the Ubisoft Plus is not a streaming service type stuff. So I was like, well, wait, are they going to let people just download these Ubisoft game or these Activision games on this service? But this paragraph in the thing that Ubisoft puts out is very clear about this is for cloud streaming. This is not, they will be able to play their favorite Ubisoft games and stream their favorite Activision Blizzard games. So if this was going to be a situation where if you signed up for Ubisoft Plus, you were able to download and play Activision Blizzard games on non-Xbox platforms, that would be something I might actually do. But of course, Microsoft is not going to give that up. And that's not what the CMA was looking for. They were worried about all the fucking cloud streaming stuff anyway. So I guess problem solved, right? Congratulations to everyone involved. And, Ubisoft probably could use a chunk of money right now or a chunk of new business. Their stock's way up on this news, or if not way up, it went up. They're out there canceling games left and right and all this other shit. So hey. Good on them. In other Xbox related news, they're going to close the Xbox 360 store in July of 2024. In an announcement they titled, "The Xbox 360 store will close July 2024, but you can keep playing your favorite games." That's not the... Okay. What if instead you kept them on sale? Anything you owned, you will still be able to download on an Xbox 360. Any DLC you've purchased, any, all of that sort of stuff in the way that these store closures usually go. That is pretty much how it will work. On July 29th, 2024, Xbox will stop supporting the ability to purchase new games, DLC, and other entertainment content from the Xbox 360 store on the console and the Xbox 360 marketplace. Related to this change, the Microsoft Movies and TV app will no longer function on Xbox 360, which means TV and movie content will no longer be viewable on your Xbox 360 after July 29th, 2024. So you can keep buying stuff until then, and then at that point they are going to shut it down. This sucks. It's the way that these stores close down, right? Is hey, you can continue to download the games and the games that are backwards compatible will still be on sale on current consoles. So this really is about shutting down the storefront interface on Xbox 360, which, we talked about some other stuff like that not that long ago. For the reasons why they would do something like that is they don't want to have to sit there and issue security updates for the 360 as new exploits and weird problems with credit cards getting stolen or whatever it is. As that stuff gets found, that's not something they want to maintain, is my guess here. That's I'm sure some part of the reasoning here. There is no impact to purchasing or playing backwards compatible Xbox 360 titles. You will still be able to purchase hundreds of great backwards compatible 360 and original Xbox games and DLC on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox.com. We believe in celebrating gaming's rich history and have worked hard to preserve as many games as possible through our backwards compatibility program. You can find the full list of titles here. So it doesn't touch any of that stuff. It really is just games that are being left behind on the 360. The problem is that that's a bunch of games that are being left behind on the 360. And that's frustrating. Piracy will solve that problem. as it always does in these sorts of situations. But it is frustrating that, like, you know, these sorts of things get kind of shut down. Video Games Chronicle.com has spent some time staring at the Xbox 360 storefront to try to figure out how many games will be affected here. And they have found a list of digital only releases they have put together a list of digital only releases that have not been released or rather will not be available because they are not backwards compatible. They may have been released as part of some physical compilation, or they may have been, you know, an updated version may have come out somewhere else or something, but these are strictly the digital 360 games that will basically be potentially vanishing as a result of this. There are a few games on here that I look at and go, fuck, really? But really it's a fuck really based on, man, why don't they make a new one of these? Or how come they aren't selling this on modern consoles? Why isn't this game backwards compatible? That's stupid. But there are some fucking bangers on here. I'll give you the full list here. 0 Degree Beat Drop, 10 Frame Bowling, 1942 Joint Strike, 3-Point Contest, Abyss Odyssey, Alien Breed, Episode 1, 2, and 3, Alien Rage, Alien Spidey, Amy, Ancients of Uga, Anna Extended Edition, Arcadian Warriors, Assault Heroes, which I remember being all right, Avatar Fame Stars, which no one's going to miss, Awesome Knots, Backbreaker Vengeance, that's that football game, isn't it? Bastion. Just Bastion has fallen into this level of disrepair, I suppose. That's frustrating. Batman Arkham Origins, Blackgate, Batman the Telltale series, Battle Academy, Battle Zone, Bejeweled Blitz Live, Bionic Commando Rearmed. Gonna go away. One of the greatest... Bionic Commando Rearmed is Xbox Live Arcade as far as I'm concerned. And that's unfortunate. Yeah, Bastion did end up getting a re-release, right? So it's, again, some of these games have gotten re-releases. I don't know that Bionic Commando Rearmed did, though. Did it? And was it Bionic Commando Rearmed 2 was backwards compatible and the first one wasn't? Is that... frustrating. Black Knight Sword, Blade Kitten, Blazing Birds, Bloody Good Time, The Blue Coats, Bomberman Live, Boogie Bunnies. Okay, I'm gonna not read all of them. I'm just gonna scroll through here and talk about some things that jump out. Burnout Crash, which was that weird top-down pinball machine crash mode Burnout game with all the licensed music in it. There was a good idea that I don't think it was a great game. Call of Duty Classic, you know. Shoplifter HD, that's not a great game. A lot of these are Kinect games. Darkstalkers Resurrection, Deadliest Warrior Battlegrounds, The Dishwasher and The Dishwasher VS, Double Dragon 2, Duke Nukem 3D, which, you know, that's around. Dust and Elysian Tale, Dust Force. A lot of these Sega Genesis re-releases that were like one-offs, like Echo the Dolphin, Exit and Exit 2, Fez, which Fez has been re-released a lot of places these days, so that's not like going away, but that's the version of that I played, man. People should be able to fire up a 360 and buy a copy of Fez if they haven't already. That's unfortunate, but like, it's weird, you know, because they're like, what if they just shut off the console purchasing but allowed you to do it on the web, where they would probably be keeping it secure in perpetuity? Anyway, I don't know. Fruit Ninja Connect, Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams, a terrible game, but an interesting idea that they were going to make a new Gianna Sisters. Guilty Gear XX, Accent Core Plus, Hybrid, which that's that weird Fifth Cell shooter thing, right? Loco Cycle, which was the game I was playing when I found out that all our shit got stolen at E3. So it will always have a special place in my heart. Meteos Wars, which is not the best Meteos game, but you know, it is a Meteos game. Mortal Kombat Arcade, Pinball Effects 2, Prison Architect, Xbox 360, RBI Baseball 14, Race Storm HD, Renegade Ops, which was all right, Res HD, which we were just talking about. Rocket Riot, which I think is a cool game, in that kind of a Soldat sort of way. Russian Attack Expatriate, which was that game that was not a Metroidvania, and we're worse off for it because that could have been a good game if it had been. That could have been a good game if it had been a better game. It's literally what I was just about to say. Man. Sega Vintage Collection, Toe Jam and Earl. Space Channel 5 Part 2. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting and Street Fighter 3 Online Edition. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix is going away. Tikal is going away. Trials Fusion. Tron, which I think is just the arcade game, right? The Wolf Among Us. And then we get down to the W's and we see the real heartbreaker. Racketeer. Racketeer is going away. Yep. If you happened upon a Kinect and an Xbox 360 20 years from now and you were like, I want to see the premiere experience for this hardware, but you didn't already own it, you would not be able to go out and enter your credit card in a way that would allow you to own a copy of Racketeer. Anyway, 220 is the number that, or over 220 is the number that Video Games Chronicle hit upon for games that, will be going away. And I guess, like, if the store shuts down, like, how are you going to buy DLC for games that are not, you won't, I guess, is the answer. Like all the DLC that for all these disc-based games that are not backwards compatible, like all that shit will just vanish. I guess that means like Rock Band is old, because old Rock Band DLC is still up, right? Or they didn't pull it down, they just stopped making it, right? That's real crazy. That's real crazy. And like I said, Gamescom is just about to happen. And there have been a few announcements there so far, such as Forza will not have the Nürburgring in it when it launches later this year. They showed it off at an event over in Germany to give people a look at what the track will look like, but it is not going to be in the shipping game. They kind of announced it as part of like a monthly updates. And I know some people are like, if you don't have Nürburgring, what do you have? And here's what I'm going to tell you. They have put that fucking bullshit track into 1 billion of these games. What if instead the game had new tracks? I know that when you're making a realistic driving game, you want to have the realistic racetracks in it. I get it. But fucking one of my major problems with the Forza Motorsport series has been you get it and you're like, yeah, it's still got all these tracks in it. I am done with the Nürburgring. You do not need to put it in. That is the type of race fan I am. You could say, we're not putting any of the old tracks in it, and I would be like, fucking rad. Yes, all new tracks. Yes, let's do that. Make them up. I don't care. You don't need to have iconic real-world tracks. You can put a Ferris wheel on any fake track, and it will still be fine. Obviously, if you're skewing more towards the reality-based stuff and that's what you're looking for out of a driving game, you do not agree with me. And that's fine. I get it. But personally, I'm completely okay with that game with that track not being in the game until spring of 2024. They could leave it out forever. I would be fine. Don't need it. It's got the graffiti on it. Look, we put all the textures on it. They solved that years ago. Don't need to see it again. The additional level of fidelity is not going to do that much for me, personally. Just come up with something cool and new. I don't know. You could just do that. But then it wouldn't be Forza, I suppose. I don't know. That's it for the news. Let's see if we got a couple of emails here before we close it out here. Podcast@guard.bike is the email address. If you want to get in touch, please do. Brandon writes in and says, Sonic and Knuckles is the first ever DLC. Fuck horse armor. It unlocked Knuckles DLC for all previous Sonic games. It was really cool that something like that existed in the early 90s. Was anything else like it aside from the Game Shark? No, I guess not. There was the stop and swap technology from Banjo-Kazooie that didn't really end up existing for reals, though someone found a way to make it work recently, I guess. And so there was that. At least conceptually, they were trying to do something like that. But I guess that'd be sort of similar. But no, other than like Codemasters made a cartridge that you would plug other cartridges into. And you would have, I don't know, expansions for PC games, I suppose, is something similar to that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you got F-Zero X and you had the 64DD disc, you could have a track editor. That's kind of not entirely dissimilar. But no, Sonic and Knuckles is kind of them. And it didn't put Knuckles DLC into all previous Sonic games. It's it's not that cool. It's not actually that cool. Let's take one more before we close it out and switch over to watch Gamescom Opening Night live. Hunter in Chicago says, I really like hearing about your time spent playing in a band, and I like your taste in music. I feel like it aligns with my tastes. Well, we're about to, that we get into a little bit on over at patreon.com/Jeff Gerstmann. We're talking about 95 in the latest episode of Game Boys to Men, and we ended up getting into kind of the early reasons why we did start a band. And I think that over the next episode or two here, we'll be really getting into some band stuff. Hunter just says, what are you listening to these days? I never had exposure to E40 until you talked about him, and I'm hooked. I also like 100 Gex. I don't know what happened. I have fallen into a very deep JPEG Mafia hole, and that's pretty much all I'm listening to now. I don't know how that happened. But after that, the Danny Brown album came out, and then the little EP they put out after the fact, I think both those are phenomenal. And then I was like, I want to hear more JPEG Mafia, and then kind of have really fallen into that hole deep. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Tom in the chat says, friend of mine is his photographer. Pretty cool guy. I was watching the episode of the Danny Brown podcast where he had JPEG Mafia on when they were kind of announcing the release date for the album and stuff. And he seems like a relatively level-headed dude, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to get a read from him on him from the music sometimes. Like, this guy seems like he's fucking all over the place. I don't know. But yeah, Hazard Duty Pay and Trust and all the... Yeah, I don't know. A lot of... It's a good weird catalog. I like it a lot. That's gonna do it for the show this week. Short one because we're rolling into this Gamescom thing here. So if you're watching live, stay tuned for that. And if you're not watching live, check out the archive on YouTube. We'll be back on Wednesday live to play probably some Immortals of Aveum and stuff like that. And then hopefully on Friday we'll just get back into some ranking these Nintendo games. We're building a list. We're building a damn list. It's a deep list of nonsense. All right. Everybody take care, and I'll see you next week.